Hi, loved ones and family and friends and fools and dreamers. How you all been? How are you now? What's been going on? There's so much unfolding and so much in motion and just so much now. And I'm just blown away by all the wow. So holy cow. Shit's been wow. And letting go and letting me be and setting me free and letting love be free to be received. Oh my gosh, what a gift for me. What a gift for me and we and all we be. So yeah, last time I was sharing some things about letting go and the dreams that I was having and the messages they had for me, and everything that was syncing up and unfolding. Yeah, and it's just been amazing with so much potency. And so, yeah, just continuity and playing and working and practicing and showing up and allowing me to be and allowing me to feel my feelings and meet them and let them move through me. And I realized so many things this week. Oh my gosh. Oh my God. Just holy potency. My friend that gave me a reading last week said, that I was going to be having some ahas and things. And yeah, I received a lot of them. I received many, yes, ahas, like things that I couldn't see before. And then it just opened up for me. And just letting go of the pressure that I had put on me and the expectations and the overthinking, like working with that still. Yeah. Because there's gifts in there for me and patterns that are all dissolving and falling away. And yeah, cutting away what's no longer needed. And even though sometimes it doesn't feel very good, and that was like my avoidance strategies because I didn't want to feel that, because it's hard to feel all that sometimes. And so I've realized so many things in the last couple days and even in the last day or two. And so I was really grateful. And there's so much to share. There's always so much to share. That's like the prosperity that we are and that we have to give, being who we are. Oh my gosh, it's magic. So are we. This love and this magic and this beauty, yeah, true to we. And so, yeah, where do I even begin? Well, letting go of things. And so I had shared about starting on my closet and going through my clothes and like that radical pastectomy, but yeah, also like kind of going back to the past, being brought back to the past in certain ways, like through going through all of these things that aren't really needed anymore. And wow, that's been huge. So I've had some memories come up too, and I want to share some of those in a little bit. But what I got to do the last 2 days was go through something that I had been putting off for years and years and years because it's my kryptonite. Yeah, old papers, going through old papers and old mementos. And yeah, because I like save a lot of those things, like, and then they just end up with like a bunch of stuff that I really don't need either. And so like that's always been my like Achilles heel, is like papers and bills and like junk that I don't know what to do with. Like, yeah. And so a lot of them would get thrown into boxes or bins whenever I moved and whatnot, and they'd just be collecting dust, and I'd see them and I'd know like, yeah, maybe go through those things. But then I knew that it would be a lot of work, and I really didn't want to do that because it just seemed too hard, or just something like I didn't want to do. And so, yeah, that's what I chose to move forward with, going through some of those things. And yeah, it did take me few hours the first day and then a few more hours the next day, but I'm done, and I feel really good, and I feel so much lighter, and I found the most beautiful treasures too. I can't even believe what I found. Like, just so deep, so much love, so profound, so what I needed. And I didn't know like I had those things because yeah, I had to sort through what I no longer needed, let go in order to receive. And so it was amazing, like the treasures that I found. And then like some of the old things that had caused me a lot of pain and had brought me like a lot of pain, or had recycled uh, these patterns that had recycled through trauma and pain, and through the emotional prison, the body of pain. And just going back to the past and looking at some of these things, like there's there is some stuff in there, like old letters and things from my divorce from my first husband. That was in 2005, yeah, when me and him split up. And yeah, that was a really hard time. And although like I feel like I had like cleared a lot of stuff a long time ago about that, um, yeah, I was still holding on to like some of those things. And I realized as I was like going through them and like reading stuff, and yeah, how much I've changed though, and how much life has changed. And yeah, and what's been created and what's being created now through my new relationships and my relationship with myself. And so, yeah, it's just so eye opening for me, like to see all those things. And so, yeah, so grateful. There was also some things that I kept for myself when I was a teenager, like just some fun little things that made me laugh. And then there was some old schoolwork that I had saved, only like, yeah, from high school, I think. Like, and the funny thing is the only things that I had saved from that time in my life was like some creative writing projects, um, psychology things, like from my psychology class. That was like the only class that I would show up to sometimes in the end of 10th grade or the beginning of 11th grade before I dropped out of school. And that was kind of fun to find those things, like because I was always been interested in psychology and writing and all of that. So yeah, it was like really super nice and fun to find that. and and then some old letters from some very dear friends and people who were lights in my life at a time of great darkness and sadness. Um, when my mom and dad were splitting up, and while I was going through my own tower collapsing. And so, yeah, just wow, it's kind of brought it all to now, and like integrating that, and going back to that child, that wounded child, and saying, I'm here for you now, I'm holding you now, and we are together. Love for you now. I'm sorry I didn't know how to be with you, but I promise I'm right here now. And so, yeah, there's some huge things, and I'll have to share a couple more things about that. But what I wanted to share was, yeah, this process of letting go in certain ways and how it all relates. So, like, yeah, mind and body, heart, spirit, soul, yeah, it's all related. Yeah, all of those things are related and part of the same thing. So it's just like how the inner reflects the outer and the outer reflects the inner. And it's so funny and wild how how it all works out and how it all plays out, how it all plays in through and out. So yeah, it's just amazing. And yeah, so I've done so much like work, just but like it's been play, and it's been like being, more being than doing. And that's like when I can get in my own way, is when I'm like, I have to do this, but it's like I get to choose this, or I get to allow this, or I get to be with this, or I get to be here, or I get to receive this, or questions too. And like, what do I really want, and what do I really choose? And so earlier this week, yeah, I've been listening to Shannon Port and her 21 days of meditation, until the solstice on the 21st. And so I've caught a few of those live and everything, and really gotten some great things out of that. And I feel like on one of those days she was talking about joy, and I was like, that's right, that's something I can choose, is joy. I was like, and that had come up like in the last month too. It was like several times, where we learn a lot through our mistakes and through our pain and through suffering and everything, but can we also allow ourselves to learn and grow through our greatest joys, rather than like our deepest sorrows and pain? Like there's, yeah, can we learn and grow through all of it, and not have to have just like pain and suffering kick us in the butt to wake us up and to our true joys? And so yeah, so I started writing about like the joy that makes me really happy, or like, yeah, things that bring me great joy, or what joy means to me and all of that. And just feeling into that. And yeah, wrote a little bit about that, and that was like kind of a turning point as well, and helps me focus on all that is well and all that's held in well. And so yeah, it was so freaking awesome. Like, yeah, to choose joy and to be with all of it. And so gonna, yeah, refresh myself with my own joys, and like my own, yeah, beauty, goodness, truth, and love that I have for myself and for all others, and all others who are in relationship with me. So I'm so grateful, and just been, yeah, feeling a lot of gratitude and expressing that and feeling that, and yeah, sharing that. And so yeah, because I had been feeling like a little bit like depressed, or kind of, yeah, little melancholy around like the first of the month, because Thanksgiving this year was, it was a little bit different, because my husband and I usually host our big family gatherings, and this year it was just me and him. And yeah, I kind of felt a little sad about that, but like we still enjoyed our day together, and we had a great day together, but I really missed my family. And so I was just, yeah, feeling kind of sad and down about that. And but I know that it's right too, and like it's exactly how it's meant to be, like right now, and like beginnings and endings, and closure and transitions and openings, and expansion and contraction, and just allowing that to be part of it all, part of the whole process, the healing process, the journey of the soul. Yeah, the remembering and reclaiming of all we are. And so we can be at one with ourselves. Yeah, be one unto or for ourselves. And so being that one love for ourselves. And that's another thing that came up too, was the last video that I wanted to share. I shared about my dreams that I'd been having, and letting go, and dreaming being dreamed, and all those themes and fun things. Yeah, I always like, yeah, will listen to my words later, because it always, like, there's always messages in there for me that I get in different ways, when I'm viewing and listening, rather than like just sharing and speaking, like, wow, it's always like my advice and my love and my offerings for me. And if I can share it with others and others are open to receive, then that's just the icing and a blessing, the icing on the cake, and a blessing that I get to be or and share, and free for me, like to share it with others and to allow them to receive in their own ways, through their own ways of being. So yeah, that's awesome. But I realized, oh my gosh, and it's so funny. I realized, like, all of a sudden, as I was watching myself, because I was like, oh, I look a little tired. I don't know if that lighting's good. Just kind of like the judge came out, the judge's lens. And then I was like, wait, that's not my lens. Like, that's not really, yeah, seeing me, who I am. And I was like, wait, I am my own friend, and that's my friend right there. Thank you, friend. And it was like almost like my lower and my higher self were showing me, like, we're all one. We're one. We're one and the same. We're one, just different degrees. Yeah. And so it was just so funny, and just like what I got like from that, like, oh, it's just hard to describe. I think I did write a little bit about it, but it was just something that I really needed to see. And I had written about that, all of that, like years ago, and through the years of choosing my alchemy practice. But like I got it in a new way, and it just clicked things into place for me. And it's just like, wow, this is for me. This is my love for me, and my love for we. Like showing up and being who I am for me. And my life is for me, and my love is for me, and this experience and this gift, it's for me. And it's for me, like, to give, grow, share, and receive, and allow for me. So that was so amazing for me to see that, and through like these new ways of seeing into me, intimacy. So yeah, that was a huge one. But yeah, letting go of some of this stuff and seeing things come up and having different feelings come up that I don't really enjoy or I guess I've learned to judge, condemn, or avoid. So that was like one of my big strategies, was avoidance, to avoid and distract myself so I didn't have to be with how I felt, or with pain, or with guilt, or with just like discomfort that I feel or felt. And so yeah, I explored that, and because I was able to see more into that because of a memory that came up for me when I was very, very young, I think age 8. Yeah, and I have a little piece to share about that. But I realized a lot of different things where those strategies came from at that time when I was grieving. My best friend, my dog, who I just absolutely adored and loved and spent so much time with, he died, and I was so heartbroken and so devastated and so just crushed. My heart was crushed about it. Like it was like so hard. Like it was the hardest thing, of course, in that time in my life. Like, like experiencing like the loss of a friend and death, at that young, tender age, and with my sensitive heart. That was like, my heart broken too, and I sobbed and sobbed and sobbed and I didn't think it would ever feel okay again. And I realized too, like, that my family meant well and they wanted to help, but they didn't really allow me just to grieve and just to cry and just to be in certain ways without trying to comfort me and distract me or fix it for me. And so I realized that, yeah, that's where I learned that strategy to avoid and comfort and distract, to comfort myself, like, and not allow myself to feel it, let it move through me, and just be able to grieve. And so, yeah, that was huge for me to see in a lot of ways, and how sensitive I've always been, and like what a deep feeler I really am. And that's been seen as a weakness, sometimes. And yeah, but I know it's like one of my greatest strengths, because that's, yeah, to feel like, and to allow myself that gift to feel and without judging, condemning, distracting myself, or shifting like the blame or the focus onto someone, something else, external circumstances, and all those things. So those were some huge things that came through for me in my process of like letting go and allowing me to receive. And so one of the things that I was nudged to do, and it was just like divine timing and just listening and being willing and being open to receive, was this flower essence, sagebrush. Flower Essence Services, they did like a dream kit, which is cool, a couple years ago, and my husband got me the kit. Like, I had told him like a couple things. Oh, I like flower essences, and I like this, and I like that. But he saw like the dream kit that they had online, and he just decided to get me like this whole dream kit. And he didn't know if it'd be something that I would like, but I actually ended up saying, oh my gosh, this is so perfect. This is the perfect gift. Thank you so much. You did so good, babe. And I've used them over the years, like, yeah, like every once in a while, like I'll see which flowers like hold which qualities, and they help us like to shift certain things, and yeah, just energetic frequencies that they hold and things like that for healing. Healing different parts of ourselves, or different things that we've had in our energy fields, and those kinds of things. But yeah, I have enjoyed them, of course, in the last couple years, to help me with various things, such as like showing up and letting go of anxiety, like social anxieties. And then also, like, there was this other one that I felt like I really needed, to be able to kind of operate or show up as myself without being overly influenced by others, because I'm a sponge. Oh my gosh. Like, yeah, I've always been a sponge, and I've always absorbed like everything. And that's like, yeah, one of my empath traits, like I didn't really know how to just observe it and not absorb it. And so, yeah, now I'm like getting to play with that a lot more lately. With I observe, letting go, I observe. And yeah, and paying attention to what I'm taking in to me, and like, yeah, what is kind of being broadcasted or shared with me, like, and like shielding myself from certain energies, learning how to do that, like to protect myself and my integrity, but not to like armor myself so that I'm not open to receive. And that's been like kind of the thing, and like a challenge for me. Like, I didn't know how to do that without like shutting down or closing off a part of myself. So wow, some huge breakthroughs and things. But the sagebrush flower essence tincture has a little card to go with it, and it's like a little meditation or some affirmation to say before bedtime, before sleep, before dreams, and all that. And so I've been taking that the last couple nights before bed, and it fits in perfectly with this thread. Yeah, and I'll just go ahead and read you the words that are on this card, because I want to share them. So, sagebrush. It is the time for ending. It is the time for emptying. Being able to release makes me able to receive. I gather all the strands of myself into one still point. From this center of self, I breathe into the beyond. May the light of spirit pour into the open chalice of my soul. And so I'll say that 1 or 2 times and like really take it into me. And yeah, I know it's a gift for me. So thank you, sagebrush, and thank you, flowers, and thank you, plant allies. And so that's been like really great, super great this week. And yeah, and of course, still having lots of dreams and recording those dreams and doing my best to recall the dreams and the snippets, themes, and scenes to the best of my abilities, and working with those and like just opening to receive like what the messages they have for me rather than overthinking them too. And that's been fun, like super fun and creative for me to choose. Love I get to choose for me. And so, yeah, it's been huge. And I'm so grateful for everything that I have been able to release and I have been able to receive. Yeah, always, really, through always. And so, yeah, a couple of things that I found, I wanted to share too. And just I had all sorts of stuff, man. And that was like kind of shoved into this guest room closet. And it was like, yeah, hard getting it started in a way, like, because I built it up in my mind that it was like gonna be, hard or a project, But I mean, like, I was really like motivated, like, I'm just gonna go do that because, like, it's just part of the process. And been going through like all the different rooms in the house, like, and rearranging and reordering and resetting, and for regeneration and for making room, making space for the new, and creating, co-creating that that new, and holding that space for the new to be born through. And so and then realizing that it is, that's part of the whole, is like that, and part of that exchange is the letting go. So, but I found this poem, and I thought it was perfect too. And it meant more to me like this time around that I read it than it did the first time that I received it. And so that's interesting too. And so it's a poem by David White, and I got it from a class that I attended like maybe a year ago or so. Start close in. Don't take the second step or the third. Start with the first thing. Close in. The step you don't want to take. Start with the ground, the pale ground beneath your feet, your own way to begin the conversation. Start with your own question. Give up on other people's questions. Don't let them smother something simple. To hear another's voice, follow your own voice. Wait until that voice becomes an intimate, private ear that can really listen to another. Start right now. Take a small step you can call your own. Don't follow someone else's heroics. Be humble and focused. Start close in. Don't mistake that other for your own. Start close in. Don't take the second step or the third. Start with the first thing. Close in, the step you don't want to take. So that was like, wow, too, because one of my mantras was always bit by bit, or little by little, and step by step. Just baby steps. Because, sometimes I would work myself up in my mind that, like, certain changes were going to be, impossible, or just, I didn't know if I had what it took to stick with it and to follow through. But really breaking it up into smaller steps, that's the way, the way to be. So, just be here now. And, so I thought that was actually like pretty dang perfect. And what, yeah, what I found, yeah, was that, yeah, it was like, some of it, yeah, I was just giving myself permission to be and allowing myself to feel tired if I feel tired, and just say, okay, I'm feeling tired right now. And that's like, that was always a huge thing. Feeling so drained about certain things, but like, I feel like that was like kind of certain energy leaks, or yeah, just how I would drain myself. Um, yeah, some form of self sabotage. Yeah, and neglecting what I really needed for myself, and self care and self love and self acceptance and permission and allowance to be all I am, just as I am, right as I am, here as I am. That was like one of the things I've been working on, um, especially for the last 2 years or so, when that came into my awareness of, oh, that's why I'm tripping myself up. I feel like I need to be something other than I am right now. Like I can't be with where I am or who I am or how I feel right now. Can I just meet me right now and allow? And those things came up so much, like sometimes where I felt like I wasn't allowed um, to be like how I was, and it was reflected by someone else. Like, and then I would think to myself, well, why am I not allowed? Why am I not allowed this? If I extend that to them, they can have their moments. They can be imperfect. Why can't I be allowed? And why can't I be imperfect? And then I realized, like, oh my gosh, I don't allow that for myself. I don't allow myself to feel angry. I don't allow myself to like express certain things. I don't allow myself my moments or my confrontations that I really need to clear the air and confront things, you know? And so, yeah, I started working with that like about 2 years ago in the summertime, when for the first time, like there was this anger there and this rage that came up after the eclipse season had started, and I had no idea like what that was about and where that was coming from. And that's when I started to pay like more attention to the stories that were coming up, and the archetypes and the players that I could see like had a part to play or had a gift for me, were playing through like my psyche, and it had things to show me if I knew how to receive, the messages and yeah, the vision that they had for me, and yeah, those images, and seeing how like the distortions and everything. So that's a huge thing. And so just a continuity and like, yeah, other layers of this. So that's really cool. Really cool to see. And so, yeah, I felt really good about, yeah, completing those tasks. Those tasks that I thought were impossible tasks, and they weren't. They were just, yeah, something I was avoiding. Um, and I got to let go of my beliefs and my judgments about them and meet them head on, and just initiate them. And yeah. And then I like, yeah, started to find some things, and it was just like, okay, listening to some podcasts that were interesting to me as I was like going through things. And I ended up throwing a lot of trash away and recycling a lot of papers and old things like that. And so immediately after, yeah, not even when I had finished, but like just like halfway through the process, like the energy in the room already felt like lighter, and I felt like more energized. And so yeah, that was pretty cool. Yeah, to feel and to see that. And yeah, because it relates so well. And so yeah, there were some things that I'd been contemplating and that were coming up for me to see, like why I've been like kind of angry or resentful, or um, having a hard time with certain things and certain ways of being, and certain things that I perceive out on the outside of me, or sometimes like as me, when it's through the judge's lens, like the judge, jury, executioner, you know, when God's on trial, we're on trial, we put ourselves on trial, and we punish ourselves over and over and over again for the same mistake or the same mistakes. And so, yeah, just like looking at those things too. And I was, yeah, kind of like, I totally have moved into more acceptance and understanding as well. Like, because, I mean, gosh, it is, there are like a lot of emotional reactions, and there are a lot of triggers, and there are a lot of wounds. And sometimes we are viewing each other through the lens of the wound, or that lens of the judge, or that lens of a complex or distortion, like a distorted lens of seeing and perceiving, because it's been learned and programmed into like our minds. And but yeah, in our ways that we've learned to like operate, yeah, in the world. And so yeah, just looking at those things, like the lens of the judge and the victim and all of that, and the idealist and the perfectionist, and why, like I knew on, yeah, a part of me knew, like, I know it's like perfectly imperfect, it is, but there were some things that I got to work through and play with, like, to understand where, like, the victim and the perfectionist and the idealist and the romantic and like the judge and the nitpicker and the detective all, like, yeah, stemmed from, and yeah, what gifts they actually um, held for me, and if I was open and willing to receive. And so yeah, just something that I wrote the other day, yeah, last night actually, because I had taken a shower and I was blow drying my hair again. It's just funny, like, how when we're not really working and we're just taking care of ourselves or doing simple things, how the ahas can come in sometimes too. So, hi friend, hi friend, hi baby. But yeah, so I realized, like, why I was, yeah, I've been upset and like really disenchanted or disappointed with old teachers and old mentors and old friends and peers, yeah, and yeah, family members, because it was really hard in a lot of ways to have those rose-colored glasses shatter, and yeah, and the pedestal, like, perfections or the pedestal projections that I held in my mind, watching those crumble and collapse. So that was kind of hard for me, and I was, yeah, very disappointed and pretty, like, upset, angry, and just wondering why, like, why. But that was like the wounded child too. But I realized some things in certain ways, and ways that I hadn't been able, yeah, to receive before. And but I have been working through it all year, since March. And yeah, so this is good. This is good work. So a lot of the times, like, yeah, I'll just let my angry voice, like my wounded child, speak, and yeah, and it's like seeing where the judgments are. That helps me to see, like, what I really need, and like what's asking for love and inclusivity, and what's asking for attention or redirection, and like my focus and my receptivity. And so it's not like, yeah, meant to offend or condemn, but like there is a part of me that wanted to, yeah, like always judge and condemn, like certain things that weren't perfect or weren't ideal or weren't how I wanted them to be or how I thought they should be, how I believed that they were supposed to be. And so, yeah, so this is, yeah, what I wrote. What is it about the retard, like the tard, you know. We all have an inner tard, so it's okay. Like, we get to be foolish and we get to be, yeah, our own, our own love and our own tard. Like, embrace like the inner fool and the inner dork, you know, because, and the inner asshole too, because that's love for us. It's all of our love for all we are. Like, and but I do want to say too that like we've only seen each other as like our patterns or our karma, and we haven't really seen who we really are. Like, we only see ourselves through that lens of the judge, and that's a distortion of who we think we are. So, and who we believe we are, who we believe others are, and all of that. So, but we're all players in this play. So, let's play. So, what is it about the retard or those playing at being so dumb? I realized while blow drying my hair why I've been so disappointed and somewhat disgusted at the tyrant, the clueless, the bore, the blind, the inauthentic, the whore, the debutante, the know-it-all, the fraud, the deaf, the imposter, those that make promises they don't intend to keep, the sheep, the weak-minded, the judge, the idiot, the sponge, the imperfect hero, the hypocrite, the too busy for you, the ghost, the asshole, the prude, the self-important, the self-righteous, the virtuous victim, the cruel one, the Nazi, the one-way street, the narcissist, the willingly blind, the martyr, the miser, the devil, and the fool, the mother superior, the better than you, the perfectionist, the clown, the liar, the saboteur, and the epicure, the child who doesn't want to grow up. Yeah. So, yeah, I have been and hold all of these too. Just didn't realize I did this to myself, and not necessarily to others, but I let myself down, making promises to myself and not following through. And I trusted the wrong people and I screwed myself. So, yeah, I forgive. I forgive you. I forgive me. I forgive we. I forgive all. I forgive all we, all me and we. I forgive all these distorted make-believe parts of me and we. I'm sorry for being untrue or for playing at being the fool, the untrue, the victim, the prude, and expecting someone else to come to the rescue. And idealizing the saint, savior, teacher, guru. False images, myths, lies, and stories. That's the truth. I'm sorry for judging and condemning all of you. I was hurt, and I'm sorry that I hurt you and me too. So I've been doing some thinking, but not really too much overthinking. But yes, maybe so. LOL, trip me up, bless my soul. So funny in all ways, in all of my ways. Letting go, I observe letting go. Without judging, condemning, I observe letting go. Go with the flow, you'll be here and you'll know. It's okay not to know, just be and let go. So, well, that was fun, and that was good insight. Like, I know all of these archetypes are at play, and I do know, like, that they all, yeah, have a part to play, a legit part to play in helping me reorganize and restructure and reorder and reclaim, like, yeah, my mind, my psyche, my wholeness, my fullness, and my being, my whole being. And so, yeah, like, in a lot of ways, I've seen them at play, and I've acknowledged, like, them too, but in a different way. Like, I was able to see it in a more full, true way, with vision rather than a distorted perception of how things need to be. So, and so, yeah, that was huge for me to see that in a lot of ways, and I'm grateful. And there's a few things, yeah, that do relate. And yeah, the story that I had shared about my dog dying, that memory came up later that last night, and I was just like sitting on the couch, just watching Stranger Things, and for some reason, like, I don't know why that just came through then. It was just, I was open, I guess, or it was just like, yeah, there was space there for it to come through. And oh, because of the forgiving, yeah, forgiving, and then like acknowledging and accepting and releasing. And so, yeah, it just made me realize too, oh, because of all the gifts, that I had found too. Like I hadn't like gone through everything, but there was so many beautiful things in there that I have like been given and I've received through my life, like through different connections, relationships, and experiences. And so it was just like, whoa, wow, and just feeling like, yeah, super grateful too. And then like, yeah, focusing too on like the joy and the creative possibilities and like what's available right now and how blessed I really am. And even though like going through challenging time and like processing kind of heavy things and all of that, but it just, yeah, there's so much grace and light. So yeah, there's that. And so I had found a note that an old teacher had written me when I was 15, when I was really struggling because my mom had abandoned me and the family, me and my sisters, me and my dad. Yeah. And I really needed a friend and a really warm, nurturing, like presence to care for me because I wasn't able to do that for me. And there were those people in my life, of course, that did love me and that, um, yeah, did their best to hold that for me and show up for me. And I'm grateful for that. And my dad was one of those, gifts, and he did his best. He had a lot on his plate, but yeah, he, yeah, was always like doing his best, and always had a compassionate, caring, listening ear, and would offer all that he could and what he had to give. And but I really needed like a nurturing, like mothering, you know, figure, maternal, yeah, kind of, yeah, to reflect my own love to me. And I had that, and I've never forgotten her because she was like a light in my life at a time of such darkness. And I found this little note when I was going through my things, and it made me cry. Oh, because it was so beautiful, and I could so see that she could see clearly into me and who I really was. She didn't judge me or condemn me because I was like acting out or I was hurting. She like actually saw like through all that into me, and it's reflected in this note that she wrote to me. And it was also, yeah, shown to me through the time that she shared with me, and like, and the acceptance that she had like for me, and that she really did like offering and give selflessly, yeah, because it was love. It was a gift of love and authenticity, and like that was her gift. And yeah, I actually wrote her an email today because I haven't seen her or talked to her in like 30 years, and she's actually, yeah, found her online and sent her an email and just expressed some gratitude and told her about the note that I found. And yeah, so that was really awesome. And it was like profound, and it helped me remember like certain things from back then, and then earlier in my childhood about how sensitive and what a deep feeler I really am. And so, yeah, this is what she wrote to me. Such beauty she sees and feels, so much hidden within, waiting to be seen and heard. She is afraid that there is no one to listen, no one to notice, no one to care. Her compassion and understanding is great, and those who know her are warmed by her love. She is in need of the same love and understanding that she so easily gives. Love, your friend, Robin. And that was just like such a treasure to find and to remember. You know, I've thought about her over the years and just been like, wow. And that's like, yeah, she was My maid teacher, I grew up, in the LDS church, and a lot of me for a lot of years was really angry because of the abuse and the humiliation and the rejection that I experienced in that structured um, religion and like culture. But like, of course, I've gone through layers and layers and layers of forgiveness and healing, and like, yeah, alchemizing and transmuting that and transforming the poison into nectar. But like, yeah, so I always knew though that it's not just like, yeah, they're not all like, they're not all hateful and cruel. There are some really beautiful people like in every single like place and tradition, And so I've been really careful like to um, not lump everyone together into like these generic stereotypes, because I know that's not how life is and how life works and how it really is, what it actually is. And so like I was mad at the hierarchy and the dogma, and then like the system of control and like domination and control and like hypocrisy and all of those things. And maybe like a lot of the leadership and stuff, those leadership roles and the corruption within the church and everything. But like I knew that like a lot of the members have beautiful hearts and souls, and they are like some of the best people that I've known and had relationships with, seriously, because there's been a lot of them in my life and I'm grateful for them. And like, yeah, they're some of the most beautiful lights. And so, yeah, love them. And there are like beautiful lights everywhere. In like, yeah, like I was talking to my aunt Shelly the other day. um, we were talking about, yeah, some of the things that we had a hard time with sometimes, because we know like how destructive certain companies or corporations or industries are. And but like we know that there are like lights lights that are there learning and growing and having their own lessons, and they have a part to play within some of those structures and within that whole. And so that's like the cool thing about it, is that like, yeah, let's not judge the surface or judge things as they appear to be, or yeah, as we believe, sometimes, if that makes sense. Because yeah, there's always something deeper, but that's maybe for us to find, for ourselves. But yeah, I realized how sensitive I always have been and how sensitive I am, and like how allowing myself to be the deep feeler that I am like is such a gift for me. And like, yeah, being with these feelings of discomfort and allowing myself to grieve and allowing myself to feel my deepest sorrows and my greatest joys. Like, yeah, and I was afraid of that. I was afraid. It was sorrow and sadness, and the darkness has always been easier for me to go into because I know it. I know it well, and I've known it well. But like, yeah, this fear of intimacy coming up, it is almost like a fear of joy and what's possible, and um, receiving like my dreams for me. Yeah, because maybe I'm afraid of disappointments or being hurt again or being let down, and those types of things. But like, yeah, it's just all a matter of really experiencing life, trusting me, honing my skills of discernment, refining my skills of discrimination, discernment, differentiation, and ability to see, and to be willing to be true to me and own it when I realize I have been deceiving myself. Because sometimes we don't even know that we're lying to ourselves, or sometimes we do. Um, but like, it's easier sometimes to pretend, you know, and not want to look within because we're afraid of what we might find, or we're afraid of what we might see. So, and I know I did keep blinders on. This was one thing I was very aware of. Like, sometimes I didn't want to see certain things because it was too much for me, and I didn't know what to do with it because I absorbed it all, and I was a sponge. So yeah, now that I've been working with that, and yeah, it's a little bit easier and a little bit lighter to see certain things and know that it's not personal, or it's really not about me either. And like letting go of the need to please and the need to get it right, and not be seen as wrong or just the black sheep and all that, just because I wanted and needed to be me. Yeah, and I wasn't allowed to be. And so that was like a lot of where my stuff came from. Yeah. And so, like, all this stuff, like going back to the past, but bringing it back and bringing me back and retrieving me, retrieving my love that I needed for me, offering it to me, going back to that little girl and that teenager and that young woman who really, really needed me. I can offer that now, and I can be with her, and I am. Like, and that is like, it kind of goes into this, like, gathering all the strands of myself into one still point to be here now. Yeah, it's just incredible. Holy wow. So yeah, that's what's coming up for me right now, and it's coming through now. So it's just wow. Blown away and how. And so yeah, the deep feeler, and sometimes a pain in my ass. I'm gonna put pain in my sass, lol. Because I took it all on and I absorbed like a sponge, and I carried all the garbage that I attached to my name, blame, shame, and pain. And I believed all these distorted images. I thought all of these things were me, or described me, described who I was or who I am. And that was a lie and a distortion. Yeah, of like this lens, this false lens of perception. And so it's, yeah, good to see that, and yeah, receive that. And so yeah, then I had that memory of my dog Brock, who's a Saint Bernard, and I would always like, yeah, he was always like my sanctuary when I came home from school. Like, after being around all of that at school, like picking up on all this yuckiness, I knew like my dog was there for me, and he loved me unconditionally, and he would understand. And I did communicate with him like in like nonverbal, like telepathic ways and things. And like, yeah, he was always there to protect me, and he was so loyal, and he was my best friend. And so of course losing him, that crushed my soul. It crushed me so much. And I didn't get to say goodbye. Like, my parents took him to the vet while we were at school, and decided it would be better to, like, he was having problems and he was getting old. And yeah, they felt like it was more compassionate and more humane to let him go. But he didn't, we didn't, us kids, and I didn't get to say goodbye. And that was what I was most sad about. I didn't get to say goodbye, and yeah, I wasn't prepared either for him not to be there. So yeah, I think that's why I cried and cried and cried for hours. It's just, yeah, it was very traumatic and very, very sad. But I wrote this little piece about it. I thought of a time when I was dying inside, crying so hard and wanting to die. The pain deep inside, the loss of my side. My heart broke in two when I found I'd lost you. Went back in time to hold what was mine, the child lost inside, the child who had died, the child, my divine love, my child, my light. Yeah, and so I did. Yeah, that was just a little thing that I wrote at the end of my page there, and I reflected on that, and I was just like, wow, that was like huge for me to go back and to hold her, and say I'm so sorry, and I'm with you now. Yeah, we're together now. So, yeah, my loved ones meant well, but they wanted to distract me from my pain and comfort me with food. I remember they took me to McDonald's and I was still crying and bawling, and I thought I had to eat this burger because it was given to me. But really, like, that was when, like, yeah, that wasn't really true to me, but I didn't understand that at that age. I didn't really want food, I didn't want that kind of stuff, but I thought, like, yeah, it was the right thing to do. Um, yeah. And so that was an interesting kind of thing to see too. But yeah, they tried to comfort me, um, and distract me from my pain. And, they were just trying to make me feel better. But like, what I really needed was to grieve. So, the car with car rides and sweet words and promises and smiles and visits from friends, they had, people come over, and then they took us places to kind of just get us out of the house, and they thought I would calm down. And it was just like, I think there was this expectation on me, yeah, that it wasn't okay for me just to cry and grieve too. Like, and I was just so sad and devastated. And then, yeah, after hours and hours and hours of this crying at this time, um, we went to a friend's house, and they had just had their dogs, just had new puppies, and so they promised me a new puppy, and yeah, we played with the puppies and stuff, and I did get some love and nurturing. Of course, it was all love and nurturing. It was all really, really, I mean, beautiful love. But I feel like, yeah, the one thing that wasn't allowed was, like, yeah, for me to just be with my feelings and not like have to need to cover it up or smother it with anything. And so, yeah, I realized that too. Like, oh my gosh, this is where my avoidance and my like avoidance of what I'm feeling comes from. Like, this is where it kind of started or stemmed from in a lot of ways. Like, but I know it was generational too. But yeah, yeah, it's huge. So, but what I really needed was someone to share my pain with, someone who could hold me in the space of compassion and mirror back to me my feelings of grief and let me cry and just grieve and be as I was, without needing to fix it for me. And I see how this is and has been a pattern of smothering or avoiding how I feel with survival strategies and avoidance mechanisms. It's conditioning, distractions, and comforting myself, bypassing my feelings and the dis-ease, the discomfort and the disease. But I went back to my inner child and I held her. I am here now, and I'll hold you, my beloved child. And she is held and here with me now. And I am my love, I hold so dear, and we are our love, we hold so dear. We are here together now, as one, together now. So, yeah, that was huge, huge, huge breakthrough and like soul retrieval and like self-love and allowance and like receptivity and, yeah, bringing her back to me and giving, yeah, forgiving. So that was huge, 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 huge things. So yeah, thanks for letting me share that, and thanks for listening. Just one more thing I wanted to share, from 2018 and 2019. There was some really interesting things, and it's blowing my mind too because it's so funny. So in March of 2019, I took a Negrito course, through the CAJS, which is Center of Applied Jungian Studies, and it was, yeah, just like a 6 to 8 week course or something where it had like different writing exercises and exploring like, all of the archetypes and like complexes and different like wounds and like shadow stuff and all of that. And there's this questionnaire that I took at the beginning of the class,